Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we are mastering ICD-10-CM Excludes2 notes and dual coding guidelines. Look, if you've ever found yourself just staring at an ICD-10-CM manual, trying to mentally untangle a web of coding rules, trust me, you are definitely not alone. It's literally one of the most common areas of confusion for medical coders everywhere. So this explainer is all about clearing that fog, giving you a crystal clear roadmap, and making absolutely sure that you never have to second-guess this specific guideline ever again. Are you ready to capture the full clinical picture with total confidence? Awesome. Let's jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we're asking the exact high-stakes question you face pretty much every single day when you stumble on an excludes note in the alphabetic index or the tabular list. Can these two conditions be coded together? Picture it. You've got a patient with two distinct conditions. You track down your code, but right underneath it, bam, an excludes note flashes like a warning light. Your stomach drops a little bit, right? Now, with some rules, the answer is just a hard, non-negotiable no. But with Excludes2, the answer is beautifully different. The answer here is actually usually a resounding yes. Let's unpack exactly why that is. To really understand how to apply the rule, we've got to master the core definition first. An Excludes2 note simply means not included here. What the coding system is trying to tell you is that the condition listed in the Excludes2 note is not chemically, biologically, or procedurally part of the condition represented by the main code you're currently looking at. They are entirely separate entities. Independent, but, and this is absolutely crucial, they can coexist in the same patient at the exact same time. Having one of these conditions does not magically prevent the patient from having the other one too.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference that trips up so many test takers and working professionals. We really need to contrast Excludes2 with its much stricter, frankly more annoying sibling, Excludes1. Notice the vibe difference here? Excludes1 is like the strict bouncer at the door, right? It means not coded here. Those conditions are mutually exclusive. Under normal circumstances, they literally cannot coexist. It would be like having the congenital and acquired form of the exact same condition. You pick one or the other. But now look at Excludes2. It just means not included here. It's not a barrier, it's just a friendly clarification. It's the system saying, hey, these are two totally different things, but they are allowed together. They absolutely can coexist.
So, now that we've mentally separated Excludes1 from Excludes2, let's look at the actual operational mechanics of dual coding. When an Excludes2 note pops up, the system is actively giving you the green light to dual code. The whole rule relies on the fact that these conditions are separate, they're independent, and they are happening at the same time. Because of that, it is perfectly acceptable to assign both codes. Actually, scratch that. It's more than acceptable. When both conditions are present, the guidelines require you to assign two separate codes, one for each condition. But, well, this brings us to a pretty non-negotiable reality of our jobs.
So the crucial point is this: documentation drives coding. The ICD-10-CM manual giving you permission to assign two codes means absolutely nothing, zero, if the provider hasn't explicitly documented both of those conditions in the medical record. You can't assume, you definitely can't guess. Even though Excludes2 means both codes are allowed to share space on a claim, you are strictly limited to coding only what is clearly and specifically documented by the provider.
Consider this next part a strict warning mechanism. These are the absolute most common Excludes2 pitfalls, and they lead directly to compliance nightmares, loss of reimbursement, and just plain incomplete coding. First up, treating Excludes2 like Excludes1. If you do this, you're assuming the conditions are mutually exclusive when they totally aren't. And that leads right into the second pitfall, not coding both conditions when both are actually sitting right there in the chart. When you ignore the documentation that supports dual coding and you fail to assign both required codes, you are underreporting the patient's condition. You are effectively erasing a piece of their clinical reality from the final claim, and we definitely don't want to do that.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how we can take all of that dense, complex theory and distill it down into a highly memorable AMCI MJ gem. We absolutely love using these to anchor concepts in your memory. I want you to read this out loud with me. Excludes2 equals not included, but allowed together. Whenever you see that number 2 sitting next to the word excludes, I want this exact phrase to instantly echo in your mind. The conditions are separate, they aren't bundled up together, but they are absolutely allowed to share space.
And here's the second, super action-oriented half of that same MJ gem. Excludes2 equals code them both if documented. This is your new mantra for real-world exam prep and your daily coding life. When you see Excludes2, your immediate impulse shouldn't be to delete a code. No way! Your impulse should be to look back at the provider's notes and ask yourself, did the provider write both of these down? If the answer is yes, you follow this principle. You code them both.
Let's see how all of this builds into a final, totally logical thought process. This is exactly how you should apply the Excludes2 guideline in practice, step by step. Step 1. You ask yourself, are both conditions documented? If yes, awesome, you move to step 2. Are they separate conditions as indicated by the Excludes2 note? If the answer is yes, again, you have successfully cleared the necessary checks. You move confidently right to step 3. You assign both codes. It really is that structured, and it really is that straightforward once you get the confusion of Excludes1 out of your head.
Ultimately, understanding Excludes2 isn't just about passing a certification test. It is fundamentally about capturing the full clinical picture. It's about doing things the AMCI way, with absolute precision, accuracy, and completeness. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder before you open up your very next chart. What critical details are your incomplete codes leaving behind? Every single time you mistakenly apply an Excludes1 logic to an Excludes2 note, a piece of that patient's story is lost. But now you have the structure to ensure that never happens again. Keep these principles in mind, trust the documentation, and remember to code them both when they're present. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy coding, everyone.